Good evening. Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm about to give a really unpopular opinion, and I'm sure it's going to be especially unpopular amongst women.
I'm Gray Mars. Break a record by being with 100 men in one day. And right after she was done, she recorded a documentary.
I'm a vegan weed. Call yourself fresh and wear the same weak ass turtleneck on every show. Goddamn. Then we got goddamn the Sudanese Sambo. Bruh, man.
And I'm Enzo.
Bringing up in my lives is they're like, oh well, he's violating the Constitution by having a meme coin and him making money off it in office and everything like that. I was like, if that was the case, like there would be lawsuits up the ass and impeachment inquiry.
I'm skeptic. Like I always say, don't let anybody trample on your constitutional rights.
I'm Mia. That's not a correct power dynamic in my mind. Typically, the people that are trying to be removed are not in control. That's why they're easily being removed.
Yo, that was fire.
Yeah.
I like that, though. I like that.
The person that's dealt with some people in the industry, I can personally tell you, most of them are bullshit. Most of them got something going on and they're crazy, and they will have you. I'm talking about they'll have you crazy.
Yeah, you look professional, bro. You look real professional. Case, like Slim said, it's the beginning, man. We're gonna see more. It's gonna unfold, and
that mean I'm doing my job.
Hey.
If we sit there and be old school, we gonna miss the boat. You know, a lot of this kids 19 years old buying houses with Bitcoin, buying Maserati.
Wow.
With no facts, and to be clear,
I'm not calling for the overthrow of a government.
You put out a newsletter attacking Donald Trump and calling him complicit.
Never
I can
attacked Donald Trump.
Yes, you have. And by the way,
I campaigned for Donald Trump.
Okay, yes.
And this is after anti-Semitism, this is the last refuge. You're an anti-Semite and you hate Trump.
Okay,
I love Trump.
I will read. You put out a whole newsletter saying Trump has abandoned America first. And here's what Trump said in response. Well, considering that I'm the one that developed America first, and considering that the term wasn't used until I came along, I think I'm the one who decides that. For those people who say they want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon. So for all of those wonderful people who don't want to do anything about Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's not peace. That was directed at you.
Man, you got me. Busted.
No, I'm just saying.
Look, my views. Look, I like Trump. I campaigned for Trump. I know Trump. I talked to him last night. I'm not against Trump, and you know that.
But you're against his foreign policy.
I think that we should be very careful about entering into more foreign wars that don't help us when our country is dying.
When you say
our
don't
country
help
is
us,
dying.
Look, yes, focus on our country. I'm all for it. But the naivete.
You don't even know how much money this costs. You don't know anything about the country whose government you want to overthrow, and you're calling me reckless.
I want to stop a lunatic who wants to murder us from getting nuclear weapons that could kill millions of Americans.
Fair.
You say, I can't see how that benefits America in any way. That is bizarre. And by the way, isolationism, your foreign policy is the foreign policy of Jimmy Carter and Barack Obama.
Oh, absolutely.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm a big leftist. This is so silly. I'm Jimmy Carter and Barack Obama. Okay. Let me just say one last thing.
So how is your foreign policy different from Jimmy Carter's? Seriously.
Please.
But I asked that question seriously.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Jimmy Carter?
So
what century is this? I am the product of the last 25 years, watching carefully, being involved in the periphery, and I see an unending string of foreign policy disasters that have impoverished and hurt our country.
Unending string.
Unending string. They would include Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, and our inability to stop the Houthis, by the way, in Yemen, which exposes us as weak, and I grieve over that. So these are failures. You helped preside over some of them as a member of the Senate.
What failures, foreign policy failures, have I presided over?
Well, we were unable to beat Russia in the war that you supported against Russia. You've been spending the last 3 years telling us that Vladimir Putin is evil and we're going to beat him with other people's children, and 1 million of those kids are now dead. You've never apologized for that. That was a full failure.
By the way, look, the level of number of falsehoods you lay out just in one statement are rather
You haven't supported the war against Russia?
Are rather stunning. So the war against Russia was caused, which I have explained at great detail, by Joe Biden's weakness.
But you supported the war.
If you want to talk, we can talk Russia and Ukraine. I'm happy to talk about it.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
To God be all the glory. Welcome to the new party. This is Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Mia.
I'm Enzo.
I'm Kamal.
So I say that because weird things are already happening in the stream. So we're going to leave it at that. But tonight is going to probably be like a really controversial show. So the views of each individual is just the views of that individual. Is not necessarily the views of the new party. But it's probably the most consequential, in my opinion, important show we'll do all year. Right now, we are at a standstill, at a crossroads in America. Are we going to be going to war with Iran, and what that means? In the clip that you saw, it was a pretty controversial interview with Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. As we see, MAGA is also in a civil war. Is it MIGA or MAGA? What does that mean? So I guess 3 people on this live tonight voted for Trump, so we'll talk about our opinions. Gray, what's your thoughts on the clip that we played?
I guess it's refreshing to see Tucker Carlson be like normal and have like a regular conversation. He also came out and said that he lied when he was on Fox News. I don't know if he's a disgruntled employee because Fox News is really pushing for this war. Mark Levin, I guess they feel like Rupert Murdoch and his son, LaShawn Murdoch, also want this war. So I don't know if he's a disgruntled employee or if he really believes this, but it seems like Tucker Carlson and some other people on the right, like Candace Owens, or like you said, Civil War, turning against the Trump administration because of what's going on in Iran.
Kamal, I mean, people have been lying for years in this country, media. I'm sure you know that you're part of the media. What's your thoughts? Is it a lie? Is it truth? I just want to know what you think.
Well, first of all, happy Juneteenth. Got to put that out there. You feel me? Second of all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. These gonna be one of those things where I just mind my business. It's a lot of infighting between the MAGAs, and you know what? Sometimes you got to just know when to shut your damn mouth and just watch from the side. Tucker Carlson fighting with Ted Cruz. God damn, that's like the Spider-Man meme. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about all of MAGA attacking Tucker Carlson, Kamal? Would you have had this on your bingo card for 2025?
I would have never had this on my bingo card. I'm like, what is going on, man? God damn. I got to let y'all talk about this. Y'all the experts in the MAGA correlation. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all might have some inside information on what's going on, why they infighting like this. But
Well, I have inside information, and we're going to talk about it tonight. But yeah, I mean, no, you ain't getting out. Come on, you gonna comment tonight? You tried to do that last week. We're gonna hold you to the fire. Last week, I understand you didn't want to touch the fire. It was a lot going on. There ain't no fires tonight. You gonna have to represent tonight for the Californians and the FBAs. Now we're not doing that. But anyways, Enzo, what's your thoughts regarding the infighting in MAGA and Tucker Carlson and the Ted Cruz clip?
So when it comes down to Tucker Carlson, I appreciate Tucker Carlson more now because I've seen him from when the time that he was on CNN to Fox, and now he's independent and he's just calling this shit out. He's not being paid by whatever side to spew whatever narrative they wanted to spew, and I'm happy he did this. That interview showed me one thing and one thing only, and it's what I've known about what's been going on in the government for the longest time. The whole the civil war that's going on within MAGA, I think it's stupid at the end of the day. Like everyone, like, because I'm seeing more like this isn't what I voted for. This isn't what I voted for. This is everything that Trump's been saying since the campaign trail. He said, "I'm going to be the best president for Israel." How many times on the campaign trail? And you guys are now surprised that he wants to go to war on behalf of Israel. I don't agree with it at all. That's my biggest gripe with the Trump administration. But everyone's saying this isn't what I voted for. This is what I voted for. He's told you time in, time out what you guys are going to do, or what he's going to do, and he's doing it to pretty much to a T at this point. So I don't know. I'm just besides myself with that. I think it's just undecided voters that are the ones that are saying that, not the actual, let's say, MAGA based or Republican based that are saying that.
Well, Mia, what's your thoughts? Is this what you voted for?
I mean, I voted America First, not so much MAGA. I mean, there's been a lot of things that I haven't agreed with. I don't consider myself a MAGA. I consider myself a hardline conservative, including fiscally, and the financials of entering even airstrikes against Iran and potentially an actual all-out war is just ridiculous. We don't have the money. And the simple fact is we have millions of veterans that are still sleeping outside. We have the highest rate of starvation among children now in 2025 in the United States. So I don't understand why we're going to try to displace 90 million people in a foreign country. There's zero evidence that Iran has... Really, there's zero evidence that they have a complete warhead, but there's also zero evidence that they have an intercontinental missile. So people really need to chill out because there is no evidence at this point in time. And we're dealing with China or Russia, where we have hard fact evidence that they have the capabilities to launch from one side of the world to the other and hit us. As of right now, we need to operate under the assumption that Iran doesn't. I mean, because at this point in time, I don't think they do have that kind of capability. So it seems premature to start, in theory, to start a war with them at this point in time. And to be honest, we have ruined 4 other countries in that area, and now they're all run by terrorist regimes. So clearly our foreign policy in the Middle East sucks, and it's not America First.
Skeptic, I know you're just joining. Thank you for coming. What's your thoughts on people being shocked, I guess you could say, regarding Trump's potential involvement with Iran?
I mean, I feel like Trump is failing at his promise that he said he was going to be a peacetime president. So to me, that is another thing that he's failing at. And I also think that we have to look at what the interest is because, I know we're going to talk about this, but there are Republican senators that are basically letting us know that they have funding from AIPAC. And I think that they want regime change that is not going to be accomplished easily. They're going to have to basically enter this war and, be in conflict for a long period of time in order to change the regime. Also, I don't understand why America is supposed to be putting America first, but now we're fighting some foreign countries' war for them. So I'm definitely against it. I also think that we're going to put a lot of American, military people's lives in danger for no reason when this is not our fight to fight.
Okay, so you're making this a left versus right issue. The reality is majority of these people are funded by AIPAC. Not just the right, not just the left. It's majority on both sides. That's the hard reality that we're going to talk about tonight. I mean, it's not a right thing, it's not a left thing. They're all funded by AIPAC. 90% I think are funded by AIPAC in some way, shape, or form, and we could pull up the list if we need to. So that's the first thing. This is a bipartisan issue. It's not a nonpartisan issue, I should say. It's not bipartisan. So to sit there and say that, I don't think is fair because that's the reality. We can pull up the list. Also, we're going to play this clip. Ted Cruz is a proponent of this. He's supporting us going in. But the reality is he knows nothing about Iran. So let's watch this clip.
By the way,
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people living around?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump?
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
Israel. High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
So tonight we're going to learn about Iran's history. But before that, Gray, what's your thoughts on the fact that he knew nothing about Iran or very little?
It's not surprising, especially because Trump ran on a populist agenda, and I feel like Trump's biggest weakness is foreign policy. So I mean, I'm not expecting a lot of senators that's just talking about what's going on in the U.S. to know a lot about foreign policy. If you look at JFK when they went into Vietnam, I don't know if it was the Secretary of Defense or if it was Secretary of State. He had the CEO of Ford tell him what to do in Vietnam. So this is what happens when people say, "Oh, I want a business person," rather than a person that understands geopolitics.
I agree. I definitely understand what you're saying. You have to be well-rounded. I don't think geopolitics is some of their strong suits, but if you're asking to go invade these people, you should know about them, because the reality is once we invade them, there are going to be effects of it. And Mia talked about it. Mia, what's your thoughts in regards to him knowing nothing?
I think it just goes to prove that money talks and the rest walks. So when AIPAC pays over 361 congressional members on both sides, $53 million worth of support. So like I said, they are legitimately paying Democrats and Republicans to have this hardline view of anything that's good for Israel, good for the goose is good for the gander. So anything that's good for Israel is essentially good for us. And Ted Cruz has absolutely just proved that. He knows nothing about Iran, clearly has no idea how they're going to topple this regime and then replace it, because you can't topple a regime and not us physically be there, because we've seen what happened in Afghanistan when, the Biden administration pulled out and now terrorists run it. So it's just a long-term thing. You can't just topple a regime and be like, oh, good luck to ya. So it just goes to show how deep Israel's pockets are, because now we have people supporting the potential murder of 92 million ethnically diverse individuals, and they have no idea who they are.
Yeah, I mean, and also in Syria, terrorists run that, and they killed thousands and thousands of Christians, I should say. One of the first Christians in the world were in Syria, and they killed them. They killed a group of them. Skeptic, what's your thoughts about him not knowing anything about history?
I'm honestly not surprised. Like when I look at a lot of these senators that are conservative, they tend to be very ignorant and they just care about, how they're being, the people that are paying into their campaigns. They'll run, like I want to say that Carolyn Levitt also had ran and just kept the money. And in reality, they don't care about the politics and pushing it forward. I do think that this is a left and right issue because I think that the left has openly spoken against Israel and the support for Israel, especially in Gaza. So I think that I don't hear enough right-leaning influencers or people that run in those circles speaking out against it. So I'm glad that Tucker Carlson is kind of paving the way for this. I think that I should hear more of this because in reality, a conservative president is in office and he has caused us to basically enter this conflict with Israel and Iran.
Okay, so right people have been speaking out and they've been getting their asses wrung out online. Raise your hand if you've heard it because we've been
I'm one
speaking
of
out.
them.
Us on this panel, we've been getting our asses handed to us. We have been speaking out. I've been speaking out since January and I've been told I don't know what I'm saying. So that you having that rhetoric skeptic is, I'm gonna be real with you, is not good because we've been getting dragged.
I heard people screaming about immigration. I haven't heard any conservative influencers on TikTok even talk about this. Honestly, this topic is mostly talked about on the left-leaning part, which I hear a lot of people speaking against Israel. So I definitely would see the majority, like I said, on this panel, people can say that, but I'm saying a representation over the majority is not there.
Maybe
Here's
not
the
on
issue
TikTok,
with
but you
it,
need to get off
right?
TikTok. You need to go on X because on X they've been speaking out and they've been losing thousands upon thousands upon thousands of followers. Most people are not on the right. Sorry, Enzo. Last thing is
You're
not
good, you're
on
good,
TikTok.
sorry.
They're on X because of how TikTok treats them. But go ahead, Enzo.
No, it was a delay. That's why it said that.
Yeah.
With TikTok, anybody on the conservative side is at risk, literally just for getting banned. Like I get banned pretty much every single week
Right.
for bullshit. Like not even things.
We
Like
can't
half the
speak
things
out.
that I bring up, literally, I put my shit on the screen and show the facts behind it, and I'll still get misinfo bans, and I'll appeal it, and it won't go through. Like we're at risk already for speaking our minds and showing the real facts out there. When I'm sorry to say, skeptic, people on the left lie more than we do and don't provide facts for anything you guys say on TikTok, and nothing happens to you guys. I deal with it all the time. I see it all the time with the bigger creators, Harry, Chris, Dean, Parker, RJ, Tyler, who is a ex-MAGA. He does the same thing. I'm sorry, like you guys just come up there and lie and nothing happens to you guys. We come up there, present the facts, we get taken down. We talk about Israel, we get taken down. You guys can say whatever you want, nothing happens. It's hypocritical on the side of TikTok. That's why we don't speak there. You go to TikTok, you go to my Discord, we talk about that shit all the time in there.
All the time. We have all my girlfriends that are MAGA conservatives. That's all we talk about, how fearful we are about what's happening and how we can't speak out. But I'm sorry, Gray.
I have to respond to that. Like the vast majority of the right is lying. I mean, it's just like we know that they're lying. Like Trump lies. Like so, the misinformation and conspiracy theories most likely comes from the right. I mean, like TikTok isn't doing this because they have an issue with the right. TikTok is doing this because they have a business, and if they are a part of something like where people are putting out information that's incorrect and someone acts on that, they can be liable for that. So like that's just what's happening. Like if they're saying that you're putting out misinformation, you probably should recheck the misinformation.
That doesn't explain it when I'm bringing up a congressional paperwork at the end of the day and I'm literally showing it on the screen or providing the web address to what I'm quoting. That makes no sense.
All I'm saying is that when the immigration topic came into question and everyone was like, it was 90% of politicians, like political TikTok that was speaking on immigration. But now that we have this conflict in the Middle East, the only people that I see in big numbers are leftists that are talking about this. I feel like the conservatives that were running up and down when it came to immigration are now kind of quiet from my perspective, being that they were so loud whenever we were talking about immigration. Everyone had something to say about it, but now there's something to be said. And I do agree that it should be bipartisan, and I'm not hearing the voice as loud as I'm hearing it on the left. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you need to go get off TikTok because Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, what's that dude? The Hodge twins? The list is endless, skeptic. The list is endless, and they're getting dragged, and they're being told that they are not real MAGA, that they are not real Trump supporters, and they need to go sit down and shut up. Okay, so people have been speaking out.
I'm saying as a collective, whenever I was
Yes.
talking to conservatives because I run on the TikTok platform, all conservatives were saying the same thing. Now that I'm talking to conservatives, there's a split between those that actually are still on the Trump train and those that are saying we are against this. And the voices of those that are saying they are still with this, to me, is louder than those that were screaming at the top of their lungs when they were anti-immigration. That's what I'm saying.
You want to know why?
Yeah,
Skeptic, I've seen your
because we are
lives.
anti-immigration, and we're not changing that. You could be anti-immigration and anti going into war, where American lives will be lost. You're conflating the two, and that's not fair. I'm serious. It's nothing to do with immigration.
Can I say
Like I was
something
gonna
real
say,
quick?
Skeptic. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I've never screened. Okay.
She lost signal. She lost signal. She's back. I'm like, oh man, like damn.
But I wanted to read something. So you can go to APEC .org or whatever, and 96% of APEC endorsed candidates won their general election in 2024, strengthening support for Israel in Congress. I repeat, 96% of APEC endorsed candidates, doesn't matter on the right or left, won their general election in 2024. That's crazy. So these people are basically 10 for 10 when they endorse you. So if you take an endorsement from APEC, odds are you're gonna win. 96% of their candidates won. And everybody needs to let this stew on that. That's crazy talk. Crazy work.
I'm going to kick her from the studio. That won't affect it, right? Because she just wrote. Okay, wait, she's back. Hold on. She's back. My bad. Because she's
sorry. I don't know why
issues.
my connection. Yeah, we're on base, and my connection is really terrible on here for some reason. I don't know. My carrier, I guess, doesn't like the base.
Yeah. And I mean, Skeptic, speaking of base, there's conservatives saying don't go serve in this war to people serving in the military right now. Had I known you were going in this direction, I could get those clips, Skeptic. I did not think we were going to have to go here, but I can get you those clips. Just going to take time. But we're going to move on to the history. Oh, I'm sorry. Enzo, did you want to add anything? Or Enzo and Kamal? I know you said you don't really. My bad,
like
Kamal.
I was gonna say with your TikTok, I've seen your TikToks. I'm like, it goes for me too on my lives. You're getting the bottom of the barrel people that are coming up there that probably have 3 teeth in their head that voted for Trump because illegals were taking their jobs. That's why you're not hearing all of this. They believe everything Trump says, and they think Trump is God. Those are the people that you're basing this off of. Real conservatives, real Republicans are the ones who are speaking out about this. And every time that we do, we get censored for it, or we get or banned, or whatever it is. That's why you're not seeing it on your lives.
Well, I follow because I go on like other conservative people's lives because I like to argue with people, and I will say I haven't they're still talking about the same old topics, and I feel like I don't know, but that's just my perspective because I do think this is a bipartisan issue, and I said this on my live the other day. This is not a one-sided issue. Yeah, this should be all of us, all Americans, not wanting this to happen. And I was telling everyone, this should be the time where we come together and we actually speak against something that's literally wrong for everyone, including those of our family members that are in military.
Go read the chat. Go read the chat. The chat is hardcore Republicans saying they don't want this. So you're going to see tonight, everybody in the chat, I want you to put your opinion. I want you to put if you're a Republican so we can show Skeptic. There are people that aren't for this. They're against it. And Kamal, is there anything you want to add before I play the clip about the history of Iran?
I mean, now you kind of just took the words out of my mouth, Nora. I've been seeing Candace Owens, she be getting her ass handed to her since she been on the Israel shit. Her and the Hodge Coon twins. They both been getting their ass handed to them. So I've been seeing it. Skeptic, you could be right though, because TikTok is its own world compared to all the rest of the social medias. For real, it's its own world, and it has its own guidelines. I even get banned for certain shit for what I be saying, and it don't be nothing. TikTok just has a lot of guidelines where you could get banned and not know why you got banned. You feel me? So
Yeah, I'm not saying like I'm not talking. Candace Owens has been out of the conservative loop when she got dropped from Daily Wire. Like after Ben Shapiro dropped her, she was basically ousted from like the big time conservative influencers. I'm talking about the average influencer who speaks. Like for myself, if there was a left issue and we were split, I would stand on my business. Like I would stand on what I believe. And I just feel like a lot of people's voices have shrunk when this is the time when our voices should be the loudest. Like this is something I talk about on the daily because I do think we should be together on it.
Prime example, Kelly, the girl that came on the show. We just did a live. You can go watch it. It's on Nora Christine live. It's on my Nora Christine page. You can go watch it. We were pretty clear. And she's very MAGA. She had the hat. She's a bigger content creator than even our channel. She has 50,000 on TikTok. So, I mean, people have been speaking out, Skeptic. I mean, I would love to keep sending you stuff, Skeptic. From now on, I'm going to show you that people are speaking out because I want you to see it. I get it. TikTok, you're not seeing it, but I'm going to show you because a lot of people are, and they're getting their asses handed to them. And I don't like him. He's a racist, but Nick Fuentes was the first to say Trump is not who you should vote for because he's going to take us to war with Iran. And here we are 6 months in and we're going to war with Iran. So, I mean, again, take it with a grain of salt, but he was the first to really speak out and he got kicked out of MAGA fast and really dropped like a hot potato, even more so for all his racist stuff. But all right, guys, we're going to play this clip. This is the history of Iran. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
To meet citizens' expectations of a better quality of life. Many Iranians are unhappy with foreign occupation and poverty, and even after the British and Soviet troops leave in 1946, that its oil reserves are controlled by foreign oil companies who don't share revenue fairly. Many of the Shah's critics want to use oil revenue to restore Iran's full sovereignty and modernize the country, and they're true owners. Iran's oil is now under its control, but Mossadegh has made many enemies. The Shah's supporters, landowners, and religious conservatives feel he's too radical. Today is upset that the USSR has not been involved and has the support of many intellectuals and some army officers. The Islamic extremists even try to assassinate Mossadegh since he won't introduce Sharia law. The economy also suffers since there are not enough trained Iranians to run the oil wells. Oil production falls from 241 million barrels in 1951 to just 10 million in 1952, with a corresponding and catastrophic drop in state revenue. And opposition leader Winston Churchill even suggests a coup. London does pressure the Shah to get rid of Mossadegh and appoint a more compliant prime minister, and British MI6 agents secretly support anti-government protests, although the Foreign Office sees a danger in half measures. Until we made it perfectly plain that we see no possibility of reaching an agreement with Dr. Mossadegh, the growing opposition to him will be unwilling to commit themselves to the point of bringing about his overthrow. Meanwhile, the United States worries that conflict between Britain and Iran might play into the hands of their Cold War rivals, the Soviets, when in reality, Moscow has a poor opinion of Mossadegh at this time. In fact, the CIA has been quietly trying to limit the Tudeh party's growth. Of my reign, indeed of my entire life, came when Mossadegh was prime minister. Every morning I awoke with the sensation that today might be my last one on the throne. When Mossadegh
need a UGC video
coup, but it's more likely that the worries about communist spread are the main motivator. Eisenhower will later share his view. Iran's downhill course toward communist-supported dictatorship was picking up momentum. For the Shah, the time had come to check that course. Iranian anti-communist political figures and some in Washington now suspect Mossadegh of authoritarian and communist sympathies. This is how they interpret events when Mossadegh interrupts the 1952 elections before all parliamentary seats are filled, requests emergency powers from Parliament, pushes for more centralized power, removes unfriendly army officers, and works with Tudeh in Parliament. Several National Front allies, including Ayatollah Khashani, break with Mossadegh in protest, and it's possible that MI6 and CIA agents have contributed to some of this internal discord as well. the entire situation. But some point to US State Department documents that order a halt to the coup after its initial failure, which would place more responsibility on local actors like General Zahedi and the clergy for its success. Woodhouse even claims the CIA simply exaggerates its role to get a budget increase from Congress. In any case, Iran was now a US-friendly power. The Shah's government supports US interests and opposes Soviet ones most of the time. And the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, soon renamed British Petroleum, resumes the extraction and sale of Iranian oil, now joined by US companies. The success of Operation Ajax helps encourage the US to sponsor other Cold War coup attempts in years to come, including in Guatemala, Egypt, Indonesia, and Cuba. In Iran, the Shah and Zahedi crack down on internal enemies. The government declares opposition parties illegal, hunts down Islamic groups, sidelines Kashani, and represses Tudeh and the remainder of the National Front. Another step in authoritarian rule is the creation of the Shah's secret police, the Savak, who will soon strike fear into most Iranians. US intervention based on Cold War fears of communism creates a powder keg in Iran. It will take more than 50 years for future President Barack Obama to admit the US role in the 1953 coup, and by then, Iran will have faced even more dramatic upheavals. Since you made it to the end of this video, you're probably a fan of
Okay, guys. So pretty much, long story short, there was a lot of CIA involvement, a lot of involvement by the UK, and what was at the center? Oil. Gray, what's your thoughts?
Of course, it's oil, and what they really didn't talk about is the big transformation that, like, what happened with Iran after the coup. Once it went from like people wearing modern clothes and
Oh yeah, I have the clip for that.
okay, well,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is definitely over oil.
Okay. Kamal, what's your thoughts? I know, like, what do you think? I know your politics isn't your thing, but pretty much the government got involved, like, around the world and intervened in their government.
I mean, I ain't surprised. Sound like what the government trying to do. Shit, it sound like a money play to me. They trying to get to the oil. Sound like a money play. I ain't surprised. And then the CIA made some fake stuff to big their budget up. Damn. That they were like, hey, we gonna need some more money. They're like, why? Don't worry about it. We just need it. It's like, all right, we got you. We know what you're trying to do. So oil play, big money. That's what it seemed like to me. They've been doing this since the 50s. Jesus Christ. All right.
Well, not just the money, Kamal. They don't subscribe to the globalist system. And the next clip I have talks about that. They don't pay into that.
I did want to point one thing out, and it does correlate to what's going on right now. I did hear in that clip that they said the Iranians didn't like foreign people in their shit. I did hear that. So it just ain't only us. All right. It seems like people around the country, even in the past, don't really like foreigners in their mix because they undercut their shit. But I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that's very, I like that point, Kamal. That was a very good point that you added. Enzo, what's your thoughts?
So I've looked into like the history of Iran and everything like that. Yeah, in 51 they had a regular election. They voted in somebody, and he wanted to nationalize the oil. The CIA found out about that 4 days in. They're like, we gonna cut this guy. And then they appointed the Shah, who pretty much just let them run free and take all the oil in it. And then moving into the 70s is when the IRC came into power, and that's the history that we're at now with them, with the death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody that they don't agree with, and the whole culture that they are now. Like, I understand America did play a part in, taking the oil and taking resources from that country. So did a lot of other countries. It's not right in any means for them to do that. And the CIA, we've known, has been meddling in all types of overthrows of leaders around the country for foreign interest or whatever it is. And I've been saying for years to defund the CIA because I don't trust them at all. So
I agree
Well,
with that.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And if we defunded them, we wouldn't have had to give all that aid, because the reason why, and I got to give it to the Democrats, why I agree, is we always overthrow these governments and then they're destabilized. Hence why I don't support this incursion in this war, because people aren't talking about the 95 million people that are about to be asylum seekers pretty soon. Mia, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I'm kind of with you at this point in time. Essentially, whenever the United States gets involved, I mean, bad things seem to follow us. I mean, we're like the boogeyman. Every time we go someplace, bad stuff seems to follow. We can't go nowhere on this planet, destabilize, and actually build it back. I think the only place we ever went and built it back, and now it's better than it was when we found it, was Japan. I think it's the only country at the top of my head that I can think of where we went in, we leveled them, we're like, we'll help you. And now they're doing better than us. But everywhere else, especially in the Middle East, I'm assuming it's because the people there are brown, so they personally don't give a fuck. So, like, we went in, we destabilized, we ruined them, and then they get upset when their children are raised to dislike us, and it's like death to America. Yeah, I'd be like death to America too if all I saw from America was hate, terror, bombs, death, and destruction. I'd be like death to America too. I mean, we can't really blame these individuals. We go into a place where we don't belong. We destabilize them for generations. And I mean, it kind of is what it is. We just need to leave the Middle East in peace and just leave them. What happens let the cards fall. Whatever happens, happens. Not our problem, not our monkeys on our circus. They don't want us there, so we should oblige them.
Yeah. Yeah. And the second clip, Gray, I'm gonna go into what you talked about. I'm gonna play it now. It's about the history and how they went from being really like free and then very, I guess you could say, uber conservative. Let me play it.
East, Iran has suffered some of the most significant changes for a country in recent history. This is Iran, before and after the Islamic Revolution. Culture. Before the Islamic Revolution, Iran was a very different world. The country underwent an aggressive modernization program called the White Revolution, which led to rapid westernization. In this period, citizens could enjoy some degree of cultural freedom, mainly because of Western influence. Women and men mixed freely. There was a cosmopolitan lifestyle in the main cities. The world was in awe of Iran's rapid development. However, not everyone was satisfied with the White Revolution. It was imposed. Any group that disagreed with the Shah, which means king in Persian, could be oppressed, tortured, and even killed by the Savak's secret police. General unhappiness was growing with the regime's luxuries, corruption, and jet-set lifestyle. There were also rising concerns about Western powers' influence on Iran's government, mainly the US and the UK. All this led to social anti-government demonstrations that, when met with brutal repression, quickly escalated into the Islamic Revolution. Right after the revolution, and success adopted an anti-Western mindset. For the past 40 years, hardline political and religious conservatives have grown paranoid of Western influence and, as a result, have cracked down on people they perceive to be enemies of the state. The Sharia is the law that dictates the code of conduct under a conservative Islamic ideology. Even the moral police patrol the streets enforcing Islamic codes of dress and behavior. In many ways, freedom of expression has hardly improved. In fact, the overall feeling is that class character in Iranian society has remained unchanged, with one ruling class replaced by another. Nowadays, instead of the Shah's ruling class, the sons of the revolution's leaders and the business class that works within the regime's rules flaunt their wealth by driving luxury sports cars around Tehran and posting on social media about their jet-set lifestyle. In contrast, the poor and the middle class still struggle to survive. Nevertheless, younger generations constantly aim for more freedom, mainly thanks to the internet. And many experts, including less conservative clerics, expect drastic social changes in the next 10 years. Rights have been severely restricted compared to those in most developed nations. They change according to the form of government ruling the country, and mandates for women's rights have affected a broad range of issues, from dress codes to voting rights. For many centuries, women were isolated. They weren't engaged in politics, and their economic contribution was limited to household work. The economy was one of the main factors that ignited the Islamic Revolution, and essential services, such as electricity and clean water, to the countryside. As a result, the poverty rate dropped less than 10% in 2014, and by 2021, Iran's nominal GDP was over $231 billion. Iran's economy has become more diversified as well. According to the central bank, in 2022, the country's GDP is composed of 50% services, 32% of industry and mining, 13% of agriculture, and only 5% of oil. However, despite its small size, oil remains a critical source of foreign exchange and government revenue. The anti-Western mindset can be evidenced in the impact on Iran's top commercial allies. In 2019, its top trading partners were China, the United Arab Emirates, India, Turkey, and Brazil. Even though the economy has managed to grow, Iran's currency has plummeted since the revolution. In June 2022, for example, $1 was equal to 42,456 Iranian rials. Of course, we can't ignore the US sanctions. However, according to Tehran's Alameh Tabatabai University economists, only 15% of Iran's economic problems can be attributed to them. Experts suggest that state domination of the commanding areas of the economy, such as the oil and gas sectors, large industries, and the banking system, discourages private investment, affecting the country's performance. Even though the gap between urban and rural areas has closed significantly, there's a strong public perception of high income inequality that, along with the country's incapacity to absorb the hundreds of thousands of university graduates, has produced a middle-class poor social class. Moreover, according to the 2016 census for men and women between 25 and 29, unemployment rates are at 34.6% and 45.7% respectively. High unemployment rates for educated youth suggest deeper problems with the Islamic Republic's economic growth model.
Okay, well, now we know about the history, so we can now say if we want to invade or not. Gray, as somebody that served in Iraq and was around the Iraqi people, do you think that the Iranians want this?
No. I mean, I don't think that they wanted to go to war with Israel. It was mainly what Palestine was dealing with Israel, and you didn't see any Muslim countries like come and back them up when all of this was going on. Do they have a major issue with Israel? Of course, religious beliefs as well as how territorial beliefs. So I don't think that they wanted this at all. But what I was going to say is that with religion, because they was talking about the economy, like the Middle East made like calculus and all types of like big major leaps in science, and religion is what has slowed them down. So like when you're dealing with capitalist countries, you're not going to get investments and things like that because your government is based on religion.
True. Very true. Skeptic, what's your thoughts? Do you think the Iranians want us to come help?
So, like, from the places where I've been at, where I've heard Iranians speaking, I don't necessarily believe that the majority of Iranians were pro IRGC, right? Which was the regime that was in has the control over the government right now, per se. But I think that, I don't know that it's America's responsibility to come in and invade to then overtake a regime. Like, that's where my stance is. I can't speak for the Iranian people. From what I understand, they weren't happy with the, those that were leading the IRGC. So I'm not going to say like that they were happy with that regime per se, but I just don't know that it's America's place to come in and take the responsibility of putting our military men, in danger for something that really doesn't benefit us.
Mia, what's your thoughts?
The United States, I feel like a broken record, has never done a regime change successfully. So why should we start a fifth regime change in the last 60 years when all the other 4 times we've gone in have been extremely unsuccessful? We can't do it. It's never happened in the history of the United States. Have we ever done a regime change and had it actually work out for the American people or for the people that we are allegedly saving? This reminds me of 1999 weapons of mass destruction-esque, where they're lying to us about what's going on and they're trying to pull at our heartstrings and say these people are oppressed and da-da-da-da-da. I can't speak for Iranians. I don't actually personally know any of them. I mean, maybe they are, but this just feels like they're lying to us. to get our sympathy, so we agree to a war that we don't actually need, that's not going to benefit us or them.
So I'm not Iranian. I necessarily can't speak for them, but I want to point out, like, to give a fair, balanced conversation, women are oppressed in Iran. And to answer, someone said in the chat they're not required. They are. Women are legally required to wear a hijab in Iran. Women have been beat up and killed for not wearing hijabs. Women are also forced to get married at 9 years old, as young as 9 years old, I should say, not necessarily 9. But so to be clear, there are two kinds of Muslims. There's Shia Muslims and there's Sunni Muslims. These are Shia Muslims. These are the kind of Muslims that they don't care to live. They're martyrs. They value being a martyr. They value loss of their life. They will do anything to destroy their enemy, including death to themselves. So to be clear, this is who they are. And I've always stood on this. You can ask Gray. I was I'll be honest with you, I was pro-Israel at one point because I know these are the kind of Muslims that they're fighting against. And I don't stand for them because my family that are Muslims don't stand for this. They are anti this because this is not how you progress as a nation, unfortunately. This is what they are. Now, do they want us to invade? I don't know, but that's not our job. I'm going to be clear on that. That's not America's job. But women are extremely suppressed. And there was a clip, I want Kamal's take on it when I play it next, basically saying that life for some people in this country is better than life here. I'll play it. But Kamal, what's your thoughts?
Well, I actually wanted to ask y'all a question because when I was looking at the clip, I didn't see what was the year, the pinpoint of the year of, like, before they were saying before the white revolution or whatever they called it, in the year after. I was confused.
I think it was 79.
79, yeah.
I think 79, yeah. I think that's 79 when the IRGC came into control.
Okay,
yeah.
And that's when everything flipped when they started. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, and Nora, you right. Like I done seen clips on Twitter where, some unspeakable things was happening to women over there in them countries. You feel me? I ain't even gonna say it because you might get demonetized. Hell, you might get a strike. The stuff that is happening over there. You feel me? Like, yeah, and I'm gonna just keep saying it. Look, it's all the money plays for the oil. It's for the oil. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm seeing. It's just, But I will bring this up one more time. It seems like other areas don't like foreigners mixing in with their stuff. That's what I keep seeing. Each time.
They got to delineate. Come on, they got to delineate.
They showing us. And like, look, we over here, we getting criticized for illegal immigrants. They over there like, look, we don't want, even if y'all legal over here, we don't want no foreigners over here. Y'all gonna have to abide by the rules. So I'm just saying, that's what I'm seeing.
Enzo, what's your thoughts on that? That's a good point that Kamal made.
He's not wrong at all. They don't want other people getting involved in their business and everything like that. But I will speak to what you were saying. I'm on the fence about this entire conflict with the United States getting in it. I don't think there's a credible threat of them having nuclear capabilities because Netanyahu's been saying since 92 that they're 2 weeks away. That's all I keep hearing. 92, 03, 2011, 2015. And now again, the only thing that Israel got better at was illustrations. That's it. Like they said in the video that we played the other day. That was it. But the way that they do treat women over there, the way that they do treat gay people over there, they literally, if you're gay, they will throw you off a roof. That's what they'll do to you. They're the only country in the world that will execute children. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm just gonna call it how I see it. They're animals over there in the way that they're governing. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's wrong. Like for a developed nation in the world to do stuff like that. Again, that's just an American speaking about it. That's their laws, whatever. I don't agree with that. I agree with the United States going into Iran, not on the behalf of Israel. That's the only way that I agree. If there's a credible threat, like how the video that we showed the other day, them speaking bad about American soldiers, they're like, oh, you got 50,000 troops over here. You get 50,000 coffins ready. If one American soldier is touched, I don't care what it is, go in there, drop the second sun on them, wipe them off the map to show don't fuck with the United States. That's my complete mindset on it. And we've done this with Iran already. In '88, we went to war with them in Operation Praying Mantis. We took out their fucking Navy in 6 hours. With the capabilities that we have today, we'll be able to bomb them back to the Stone Ages, and they'll never be able to have capabilities of nuclear weapons within our lifetime, probably. And at that point, don't do a regime change. Let them choose who they want to put into power, because they're a country that harbors terrorists too. That's another thing you guys got to look at with this country. The Houthis, the Hamas, Al Qaeda, Taliban. That's a safe haven for these T groups at the end of the day. By wiping this regime out and letting them choose who they want to put in, instead of installing somebody who it's going to fail, like we've done 5 other times in other nations in the Middle East. That's why they fail, because we install them. We're not letting the people pick who they want. And that's exactly what I'm seeing with this. And like I keep saying, the only way I will be okay with that is American citizens or American soldiers get hurt. That's the only way I'd be okay with that going in there.
Kelly wrote, my esthetician had to leave Iran because her husband died, and her in-laws wanted her something. It got cut off. But Kelly, if you send the rest, I'll play the rest, because like I want to know the rest of the story. So thank you, Kelly, for the super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for your comment, Shadrach. That was really sweet. Wow, that was nice what he said to you, Gray. I want to play this clip, and I want Kamal to comment on it. Whoopi Goldberg said some shit this week that I just don't know what time she on. I'm just not. I don't know what time she on. I want to know about the time though. Maybe Kamal will tell us, because Kamal, he doesn't speak for FBAs obviously, but you know he's our voice. So let me play it.
Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United States.
Hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto.
Killed for I'm sorry.
What, they wear like I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you,
I literally said it was up to the Iranian people.
Yes,
it is up to them.
And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not anyone at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But yeah, I know that.
It's so hard. That's why you're a millionaire on TV.
Every day we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood? They are not big deals, and I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you, because that's not what I meant.
And they are not doing well there either. They are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They cannot property. They cannot leave those.
I'm talking about here.
Nobody wants to diminish the very real problems we have in this country. That is no one's intent. But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country, and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
Let me try something. It's like try to reverse roles with a black person in this country, let's say, because I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Just try to understand from their point of view. From that point of view, this country does not do them well. Does not go for them.
I completely acknowledge that.
And we shouldn't compare atrocities. If you're talking about Iran, of course, is doing worse things. But relatively speaking, it feels bad.
Okay, but I think you know that Iran is significantly worse.
I guess we're going to come back and talk.
Okay, guys, before Kamal speaks, I gotta do a commercial break. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button as well. Kamal, what's your thoughts on what she said? She said so much.
Y'all said I could play my sound effects, right?
Oh yeah. I told you. I don't. Yeah. Wait, have you been? Because I don't hear it sometimes. You're allowed to. I told you we talked about that.
But I'll play it now. Whoopi Goldberg, shut up, man. God damn. What on what the F she's saying, man? I'm tired of certain black people doing that shit. Look in the chat. Look what the chat is saying. The chat basically saying what I'm thinking. Using our black struggle when, first of all, Whoopi Goldberg don't ever talk about our black issues like that. And when she does, she's wagging a finger at us. Remember that one time she said her family got reparations and it's our fault that we didn't get our reparations? She was like, go figure it out. Man, Whoopi Goldberg, you lying through your black ass gums, man. I'm tired of that shit. Get the F out of here with that. And they were specifically talking about people in the LGBTQ community. Why did it get conflated to black people? Nah, man, these coons got to stop doing that. They got to stop doing that. Stick to the topic at hand. It was talking about the gay community and how Iran treated the gay community over there compared to how the gay community getting treated over in the States. Whoopi Goldberg want to open her stupid ass mouth and start conflating the shit with the black people here couldn't vote till 1972. No, black people could vote once. When could they vote? Was it 1860?
1800s, right? Because I didn't know that. Kelly taught me that. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I always thought that black people didn't get the right to vote till the 1960s, and I didn't know that black people had the right to vote since Reconstruction era.
What was like the 1800s or something? I know that we fought for our goddamn freedom. I know we were able to vote, even though they still suppressing stuff. But yeah, it's like I don't like that shit when it's like we weren't even in a conversation of the black struggle and black issues or anything racial. And Whoopi Goldberg wants to bring it to racial to prove her point, which then she kind of debunked her own point. And it's like she's just saying dumb shit. Oops. Like I don't like 1868. What did I say? 1865?
It was 1870, February 3rd, with the 15th Amendment.
There it goes, 1870. I'll close.
I looked it up.
All close, but hundreds of years ago, or over 150 years ago, because Whoopi's saying so. Kamal, as a Black American today, do you feel what Whoopi described? I mean, she's comparing it to the struggles of the women in Iran. Do you think it's the same? And if you do, that's okay. But I just want to know.
I mean, look, when it comes to that regard, she got a point. The stuff that was happening to us during slavery and then during, you know what I mean, certain parts of Jim Crow and things in that nature. Yeah, that shit was happening. But I'm just more at a point. I don't want to hear no black person that ain't fighting for us goddamn Black Americans at every moment use this shit when it's convenient. I don't want to hear that shit. She's just using the shit when it's convenient. And she's not really fighting for our black issues. Every time we talk about black issues, from anti-black hate crime bill to reparations, cash to be exact, you feel me? It's always when she talks about it, it's always like, well, that's y'all fault. We got to get it together. It's the black community. We got to do this, blah, blah, blah. But then when it's time to use blackness as conveniently to prove her point, then she want to throw that in and be like, well, look how we struggled. Look at this, blah, blah, blah. And compare it to that. No, we don't want to hear that shit. Shut the hell up. No, don't want to hear it. Like, God damn. But to answer your question, Nora, I know that's long-winded, but the stuff that happened to my ancestors and my lineage, it does compare to what's happening to the women in Iran.
Currently, 2025, right now as we speak.
Currently. I don't know if I can
that's
say
what
she's saying. They're saying current, right?
She's saying currently. That's how I took it. Is that how you took it, Mia? She's saying currently.
She's absolutely saying currently. It seemed like the other little panelist co-host was like 2025, and Whoopi Goldberg kept talking like it was current 2025. So, I mean, I'll let him finish before I start, because I got to put a disclaimer before I start.
Yeah, well, if it's currently, then it's going that's going to be more of a I don't know, because I actually don't know what's happening to the women in Iran in 2025 like that.
What's going on with women in 2025 is they're being beat to death for not wearing a hijab, and they're also being forced to marry at 9 years old. So, I mean, currently, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say, Kamal, I don't think currently that it compares. But however, at one point in the 1960s, I could see that. Yeah, in the 1960s and before, definitely, I could compare the two. But that's just my take. I mean, I'm just asking y'all what y'all think.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more of like, forget the whole 1960s civil rights. I'm talking about during slavery and the things that they did to us during slavery. They most definitely
of course,
wicked ass shit to our young foundational Black American women during those times. They was doing experiments. Them white slave owners was getting the young Black women and having sexual relations and doing all types of wicked shit. You feel me? So during that time, I could see it similar to what's happening to women in Iran. I won't say the 60s during the civil rights, even though wicked shit was going on. But during slavery, for goddamn show. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mia, what's your thoughts? Currently, is it happening now? Can you compare?
So I want to do a disclaimer. This is what I'm going to say. It's not the opinion of the new party. It has nothing to do with them. And I'm going to disclaimer this because I'm sure I'm going to offend a motherfucker. So first and foremost, Whoopi, if you hear this, you are a disingenuous, arrogant, fat piece of shit and nobody likes you. Secondly, to be so crazy as to in 2025, the majority of Black Americans are born without a father listed on the birth certificate, and these women are being stoned to death. Right then and there. Like, we're talking about a country where women can't even leave their house half the time. They can't drive. They can't get education. They're being forced to marry at 9 years old. They're being stoned to death. There's lashings. To sit there as a multi-millionaire on a syndicated TV show, getting your makeup done, living bougie ass lifestyle in Miami and like Malibu in Miami, and you're gonna sit there and try to compare 2025 when we have OnlyFans and all this stuff that Black Americans participate every single day on Instagram, and you're gonna sit there and diminish what those poor Iranian women are going through. You're a fat piece of shit, and you're disingenuous. And I'll land there. There's no comparison at all in 2025, Black Americans or any Americans. Those poor Iranian women are suffering. Point blank period. And to sit there in 2025 and try to say they're not and try to compare us, bro, we were literally protesting out in the streets and nobody caught a charge. We're fine over here. We're doing all right.
Damn, they coming for you, Mia. Gray Mars, my FBA brother, we celebrated Juneteenth and had our own little cookout today. Do you compare it to right now? What's your thoughts?
I definitely don't compare it to right now. What I'll comment on is that it kind of seems like they're trying to say like, oh, well, these people do all these horrific things, so they deserve to be blown up. And like Islam is a very like strict religion. So I feel like they're very conservative. So they do go to extremes. I've been around people who are Muslim and like once it hits 5 o'clock, they're going to go pray. It doesn't matter what's going on. So people that's that disciplined in their religion, I'm not shocked that they do like these extreme things that would seem distasteful, but you are allowed to delete your wife if she does any type of infidelity over there. But I definitely don't think it's any comparison.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So she was really comparing what?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you see why I'm confused? Because I'm like, to me, it makes more sense that like, okay, she's comparing to
right.
Yeah. God damn.
I mean, hey, the finish Listen, 2024 was disastrous for certain folk in this country, okay? It was an eye-opening wake-up call, and people are grasping at straws. I'm not trying to make this a bipartisan issue, but you know what I'm saying? These people are on the payroll. I hate to say it. And this is what they want to do, is sow division and fire people up. But that's just me. But Skeptic, what do you think? You think it's currently still happening?
I did want to say that although Black Americans were given the right to vote, Jim Crow laws and a lot of traveling and having to go to a certain place to vote took away from the ability for the Black community to vote. So until 1965, where they got rid of Jim Crow laws and made it illegal to stop someone, a person of color, from voting, it then instituted the actual right to vote. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And I want to say to my Muslims brothers and sisters, I don't believe that all people that are Islam or Muslim are violent per se. I think that Muslims is the second biggest religion in the world. So I think that it speaks to how peaceful Muslims can be, because I think that a lot of the time we try and push this idea of Muslims being violent, when the reality, there's a lot of Muslims, there's millions of Muslims, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're violent. However, I do think that they're behind on rights to women, and there was an Iranian lady that was unalived by the police because she would not wear her hijab. So I don't obviously I think that women should be given rights and should be treated equally, but I cannot conflate that to the struggle that the Black community was put through in America. I don't know why people always want to compare whatever struggle they have to the Black community. I think it's very disingenuous, and I think it takes away from the actual atrocity that was caused here in America. So I don't know, to conflate the two, I think is you're overreaching, but I do think that, Muslim women are being treated unfairly in Iran.
Yeah, and I think that was poor choice of Whoopi, in my opinion, because basically it's gonna make people say where here we go again. You know what I mean? It's going to minimize the issue. Enzo, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I thought it was just very disingenuous on Whoopi's part to compare what's going on in 2025 in America to what's going on in Iran, because it's not even close. Like I said, I spoke about it before. I mentioned the whole LGBT plus, anyone who's gay, they get thrown off the roofs and unalived over there. Children can just be unalived for whatever reason. I mean, there's nothing to compare. And her just comparisons to the Black struggle, everything, I think it's, like I said, just disingenuous all around the board on that.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring it back to the topic at hand. Skeptic, you said the right ain't calling to set you out. I got a clip I want to play for you.
I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of it, says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is.
And I'm really happy he said that, because when you hear it, you realize how ridiculous it sounds. Even if you're not following the theology, if you don't identify as a Christian, you realize that you have a senator that is sitting across saying that his number one reason, he didn't say one of the reasons, he said my number one reason that I support Israel is because the Bible commands me to do so. And just so you know, the Bible does not command, and this is what Tucker Carlson is getting to in that clip, it absolutely does not command you to support the modern state of Israel. Like Genesis is pointing to the modern 1948 created state of Israel, and you must support it, despite the fact that it is very much involved in what can only be described as demonic behavior since its creation, right? And so you're going to ignore every other biblical passage. You're going to misinterpret this one. It's a dispensationalist heresy. Dispensationalist heresy, which was factually funded by the World Zionist Congress. And we can do another episode on that as I present to you guys all of the evidence that.
All right. Skeptic, my sister in Christ. What you think about what she said and about what he said? Should we support them for religious reasons? Like, what's your thoughts?
I think that Zionism isn't rooted in religion, but I think that the majority of people that are Zionists are actually using secular, arguments to basically make their point, but they manipulate religion and Judaism or Christianity, because if you even go back down to what Christianity is, Christianity broke off of Judaism because it went contrary to the actual, the Torah. Like Christianity is a reform of Judaism. So I think that Zionists are manipulating people that are Christians, and I don't think that Christians catch the drift because they're so enthralled with this thing to say that we cannot even question why we are sending billions of dollars to Israel, but we have to just support them because the Bible says that, when the Bible actually doesn't say that. And actually we are a reform part of Judaism. And I did want to say, Candace Owens is number one, has been outed by the conservative movement. She was fired by Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. So I'm saying the average person that I hear, the person that hosts lives that sit there and say, why didn't you vote for Trump? Why are you still a Democrat? All these people that sit there with these panels that have been screaming at the top of their lungs to boot the immigrants out of here are the same ones that are now really quiet. I hear crickets when the left is screaming, why are we supporting Israel? That's what I was saying.
Well, I just played you with somebody on the right that's questioning this skeptic. She's been questioning it for years, and
Candace Owens does not represent the average TikToker who is a conservative
and
influencer.
forget TikTok, boo. TikTok ain't the world, though.
They're professional TikTokers.
My statement was directly to that. That was what my
Oh,
statement was.
all right. Well, my statement is to America, because this is what this is about. Most of MAGA is questioning this. This is what they're hiding and lying and saying. Most of MAGA is questioning this. But they're trying to say that, or most of America is. It's not a left versus right thing. I don't know why y'all keep doing that. Really, it's disingenuous. I'm sorry. For me, it is, and you can ask Enzo and Mia. I've been saying that we need to stop making a left versus right thing. But
the reason why it's a left and right thing is because the left has been, for the majority, called anti-S. That they're all anti-S and that they're obsessed with going against Israel. And the right has always taken up and allied themselves with Israel. So that's why that you can see a difference in it. If you meet a leftist or you see a Democrat, more than likely, if you ask them on the topic of Israel, they're going to tell you that they disagree with us just sending money and asking no questions. On the average, that is true.
Skeptic, I will say this, on the new party TikTok, a lot of right-wing people who stuff, because of course Nora's on there, so there's a lot of right-wing people. I have seen a lot of them say they don't agree with what's going on in Iran. Not necessarily on live, but the regular video. But
yeah, I think the lives that I see that I've been going into that are literally on this 24/7 that continue to make this a topic, they won't let this go and continue to give people information, to me are left leaning. So I feel why aren't more conservative voices speaking out? Because you're following our conservative people, right? So if you host a live saying this, you are reaching to your following and empowering them to disagree with what the status quo is, which is the majority. If Trump does something, the majority of those that follow Trump are going to agree with him. And Trump is allied himself with Israel and pushing forward that we should come into this conflict.
So, like I was gonna say, there's plenty of bigger TikTokers on TikTok, like the older millennial. He's being outed by everybody on the right now for speaking out against Israel, and he's one of the biggest ones on the right side. Like I said, I'm on TikTok every single day. People bring that up to me about what's going on with Israel, Palestine, Israel, Iran. since the beginning, I've never been for either side when it came to Israel Palestine. I really didn't care. I always said, I don't understand why we didn't care. Nora and Mia, thank you guys, showed me pretty much everything that I need to know about that conflict and what's going on, what's really going on. And I've been speaking out against Israel for months now, since February, pretty much, or no, I'm sorry, March, when I pretty much came onto the Green Party. Since then, when it just really comes down to like this whole entire thing, it's not a right versus left thing. We need to stop making it a right versus left thing. Anybody who would have came into power, if Kamala would have came into office, I can guarantee you right now, we would probably still be in the same situation we are in right now, if not worse, because she just would have let Netanyahu take her and do whatever they wanted. To be honest with you, she's not as strong as Trump. I can tell you that straight up. At least Trump is fighting back against this. And there's been plenty of reports that have came out. When Trump first heard about this preemptive strike on Israel, he cut ties with Netanyahu, fired Michael Walls, and questioned everybody in his staff for leaking things and intelligence to Israel. He didn't green light this attack. He's been trying to have peace deals with Iran to de-escalate this entire situation. So I don't really think that the Trump administration is just running amok and letting Israel go and do exactly what they want. And I don't think it's going to come down to going into Iran on behalf of Israel. And if they do, then I would significantly disagree, because it'd be an 0-3 all over again, because there's no real reason to be there.
So I will say Obama had the JCPOA, which is the Iran deal that was put in place, and Trump got rid of the deal in 2018 and also said that Obama was going to lead us into a war with Iran. Can I finish my statement? Trump also said that Obama was going to put us into a war with Iran because he wasn't good at negotiating deals. And now he's asking Iran to come to the table. And when he's asked, have you spoken to anyone from Iran? Have you spoken to, he's like, I'm not going to call them. I have no need to call them. Also, when the attack was made from Israel, they used a lot of our American, weaponry, or from what I understand. So, Marco Rubio came out and said, we had no information. We were not involved. And then Trump came back and said, actually, we approved it. He literally said, we approved it. So to say that we had no idea from the American standpoint, to me, is one that's untrue. I don't think that you can make that, with all of the information that we have and actual statements from Trump. We have I have a video of Tulsi, what's her name? Tulsi Gabbard. She was basically under oath, and they asked her, do you think that Iran has nuclear deals? This was in March of 2025. And she said, no, we do not believe that they have the capability to have nuclear weapons as of now. That was in March. That was literally like a couple months ago. So I think that. So what I'm saying is that you're conflating these things. You're muddying the water to not make it clear cut. This administration has not done a good job of maneuvering.
You cut out, Skeptic.
Great, Mr. Democrat. What's your thoughts?
First off, I think like the TikTok world is like different when you start up, and then when the YouTube world is kind of, because we started on YouTube, so I wanted to bring that up. So like, I feel like TikTok, you're kind of trying to like change people's minds, and YouTube, you're kind of just conversing. So I mean, with TikTok, you're not really, if people aren't doing that as a business, some people are just coming up. You're not gonna like convince people to change their mind. So I just wanted to speak on that. But as far as the Iran stuff, I think it's crazy. I don't know whether it would have been different with Kamala or Trump or whatever, but I mean, we're in this situation. So it's like, if they don't have weapons of mass destruction again, and they do this all over again, this is going to look horrible for America, because that's what we just did in Iraq.
Mia, I'm gonna play the APAC clip because we kind of run out of time. Can I just play that and I'll let you comment on everything then? Because then we're gonna have that be the last clip. Kamal, is there anything you wanted to add to this?
Actually, no. I actually want to see that clip that you got to play.
Okay. Sorry. And Enzo, I'll let you respond when it's your go round, because we're running out of time, because we try to be done in 2 hours. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, I'm playing the clip now. Okay, here we go.
A lobby. Have you
taken money from the Israel
from AIPAC?
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship
is
and relationship.
AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action.
What is it lobby for?
Anything.
So, to be honest, not a whole.
It's not playing.
No.
Oh,
really? Not,
yeah, it's playing.
It's playing for everybody but you. You need to go back and come back in because it's playing
a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC.
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's
when was the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC,
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive.
No.
I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government, and I don't. It's not.
No.
It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay. So it's not has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
it's not true.
No.
How much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have with the government of Israel?
No idea. I imagine some. I think the government of Israel is often frustrated with AIPAC because AIPAC's not nearly strong enough.
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure.
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including Israel.
But AIPAC are Americans. They're not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah, and why
aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
So that's the amount that he has received from AIPAC, a whopping 1.8 going on $1.9 million. Mia, what's your thoughts?
AIPAC controls the strings for most of the stuff that we do. AIPAC absolutely is a lobbyist group for the Israeli government, point blank, period. I understand that Ted Cruz was tap dancing around it, but it's like we all know. I've already read off of AIPAC.org. Their own website tells us that over 361 congressional and senator members that they endorse those people. $51 million directly go to them, and 96%.
You know who the number one is, Mia? The number one senator, Joe Biden. $4 million he received as a senator from them. He's the number one. I'm looking at the list now.
And you know what's super crazy to me too is the fact that, and I mentioned it earlier. I'm sad that Skeptic's not here, but
me too.
96% of their endorsed candidates win. Like that's, like I said earlier, that's like mind-blowing numbers. That's
Skeptic, she's back in time, right on time. Skeptic, you right on time. We talking about AIPAC, girl. Guess who the number one receiver was of AIPAC money?
I don't know. Let me see.
Joe Biden, $4 million from 1990 to 20. I could show you the list if you want to see. And guess who was number two? Robert Menendez, another Democrat, 2.5 million. Guess who was number three? Hillary Clinton with 2.3 million. So again, I keep trying to tell you, it's not Dems versus Repubs on this. They all are bought and paid for. All of them.
But you got to think about the amount of time. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Skeptic.
Gray. Sorry. I say get him out of office. I mean, I'm not for it, even if Joe Biden did do it. You know, I'm against it. I feel like Apex is basically lobbying for a foreign entity, so I don't think that they should be in our politics. Even though I know that a lot of countries do it, but I think that it should be more honest. It should be more like direct. We should know this information, and I do think that we're in the information age. So I do think that we're becoming more knowledgeable when it comes to our politicians. So like, even if Hillary Clinton did do it, even if Joe Biden did do it, I disagree with it.
I was going to say that's another argument for term limits, because is that one piece, or was that like over a lifetime?
That was over 20 something his lifetime. I could share the screen. I would like you guys to see, so you see I'm not making this up. Not that you guys don't believe me, but I would like you to see it. I'd like you to see all the Democrats at the top of the list. And that to me is not, I'm not trying to argue that Democrats are good or bad for this reason. I'm just trying to show y'all that it's not a partisan issue. It's a bipartisan issue in the sense of the amount of money that's been given to them by this organization.
Can I read a quote real quick from the New York Times that they put out in June 20th, 2024? So APEC unleashes a record $14.5 million bid to defeat a critic of Israel. Just think, they are willing to spend over $14 million to fight to get their candidate in office. That's wild work. $14 million from one lobbyist group.
Yeah, and they give to both sides, which is the craziest part.
And they have 5 million members in the United States. That's a substantial amount. APEC has 5 million members. Legitimately, that's more population that we have in APEC than a lot of countries have as a population, for Christ's sake, are members of APEC.
For sure. Was that your last clip, Nora?
Yeah, we can end because I know everybody's tired. We could start. Enzo and Kamal, is there anything you want to add?
I guess AIPAC running the government. Goddamn. Ted Cruz out here saying that they need to be more effective. I guess he won another million. I guess.
There is one more clip I would like to play, just one more, and then we can do our closing thoughts and just do that because it has to do with the whole APAC thing. Please, I have to play it. I promise it's the last one.
Intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us, and I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that. And
by the way,
I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know, hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming, I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest...
But I just want to stop on this flying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
Oops, my bad. Okay. All right, y'all. So we can do our answers and our closing thoughts in one thing. Skeptic, I'm gonna let you go first. Thank you for coming and congratulations. Well, hopefully congratulations soon on the new baby.
Yeah,
Your
my mom
auntie
called
soon.
me. Everyone's on like pins and needles trying to see when the baby's gonna come.
I like the shirt.
Yeah. Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, we're glad for freedom, and I think that we need more unity. And for my Islamic brothers and sisters, we fika barak Allah. And you guys have a good night. Good weekend.
No trample on constitutional rights.
Trample on our constitutional rights. I forgot that.
Kamal, thank you for coming. What's your thoughts on that last clip? And you can do your closing thoughts as well.
Well, my thoughts on that last clip is Ted Cruz is like, look, we benefited from Israel, and we know what that means. That means he getting that cha-ching. He did complain, though. He made it seem like, look, they ain't doing enough. I need another 500K, all right? But also another thing, does Ted Cruz know anything? God damn. He's the most non-knowingest senator. Good Lord, he didn't know nothing. And getting cooked by Tucker Carlson. Oh, my goodness, man. That is a disgrace. Because let me tell you, Tucker Carlson, Jesus Christ. But anyway, happy Juneteenth to my foundational Black Americans. You feel me? Shout out to, Black people on code. The minuscule allies that we do have out there. You feel me? Juneteenth is a celebration of where we fought for our goddamn freedom. Not how some of y'all are saying that, oh, it's Abraham Lincoln that freed the flag. No, the Union was getting their ass whooped by the Confederates. And they was like, we need some help. So they called on us, and we came in and started whooping ass. And that's what Juneteenth is about. We fought for our freedom, and we actually freed ourselves in 1863. Somehow we didn't get everybody didn't get the news till 1865. Go figure. But also, I'm glad that I was on today's panel because I learned a lot, though. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know, you feel me? But I do know one thing I did learn. It seems like every country, at least what we were speaking of, they sure don't like foreigners in their goddamn business. They are not about the immigrants. APAC seems like they run in the government. I'm just saying. They got deep pockets, but at the end of the day, people still gonna complain about not getting paid. This is a goddamn shame. You getting $2 million in Ted Cruz that don't know shit is out here like, hey, APAC can do more. Like, okay. Oh, and by the way, you feel me? Skeptic, you feel me? I understand what you mean by TikTok because you might not be seeing certain things, but on other social medias, I do see the conservatives that are talking about, Israel's wrong and stuff. I do see them get shitted on. I mean, we seen it in real time on YouTube. Somebody was shitting on Candace Owens about her talking about Israel in that small clip. So I get what you're saying, though, because TikTok is like its own world. And it has its own thing. And like, it's like what Enzo said. It's like you might have a hillbilly meth using, lost all his damn teeth on damn TikTok telling you, you know what I mean? Just coming up on the stage and panels and saying shit. So, yeah, that's all I got to say. Happy Juneteenth. Appreciate it.
Happy Juneteenth. Thank you, Kamal.
You want to tell like a young Bob Marley. That's a compliment.
Oh, that's wild.
Yo, Juana be killing it. Shout out to Juana. That's actually funny. You should. Oh,
You want to end the show? Okay, so I'm not going to answer that. You feel me? But
oh Lord,
I sit your ass down.
Oh Lord, Mia, what's your closing thoughts?
Happy Juneteenth, everybody, and happy Juneteenth to everybody but Whoopi Goldberg. You're a disingenuous, arrogant, fat piece of shit, and that's my closing thoughts. That's it.
It was quick. All right.
It was quick.
Enzo, what you... Oh man.
All right. So yes, happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. To the last clip, that just shows that Ted is just incompetent and doesn't know anything, like Kamal said before. And to my question is, everybody says Israel's our greatest ally in the Middle East. For what? For what? For 64 people unalived in 68, the Liberty bombing. 2001, about 3,000, and 03 were a couple million, and $2 trillion spent. Yeah, they're our greatest ally. But we can keep singing that same old song and dance. But with my closing thoughts, it's a great episode, like always. I'm gonna keep saying it, like Nora. This isn't a left versus right issue that's going on in America with all of this. APAC, we see who they are. They fund both sides of the fence. This is where we need to all come together and realize what's really going on and really who's pulling the strings. And it's not even the president at this point, that they have other bigger people behind the scenes doing it when it comes to anything that has to do with Israel or anything with the Middle East. That's what we need to all pay attention to. We need to all be united in this and not fight each other and say, well, this is a left or right or black or white or whatever type of issue this is. So again, all we just need is unity at the end of the day, guys, with everything that's going on right now.
Well said. Mr. Founder, what's your closing thoughts? I know I'm going to get a mouthful tomorrow.
APAC, please don't cancel us. But I want to read this comment. Just watch your live, and I got to say you've created a space that feels different. It's intentional, bold, and real. If you ever sit back and realize you're not just hosting a podcast, but leading the movement, great marks. This isn't just a compliment to me. This is a compliment to you guys. And this wouldn't be possible without all of you guys. And that shows you guys that people are watching this. Mia just got basically a stitch from Anton Daniels that was on a big YouTube channel that she shared a new part of her story. So thanks, Mia. So even if I may not agree with everything, we're all content creators here. So we all want you guys to be successful. And that's what we're focused on, is you guys being successful and getting your content out there. Like we always say on a new party, always vote.
All right. Oh, that was a good sound. Let's go. Greg, can you put it on solo mode for me? It won't let me do it for some reason. I don't know.
I can't
it's
do
tight
it.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine. We don't need to be on solo mode. Yes, thank you to the new party team. Shouts out to Maya, Enzo, Kamal, and Skeptic. So thank you so much for you guys. Shouts out to the Man Cave, Bulger, 85, King. Am I missing anybody? Oh, Alexis. So thank you so much to our team. Again, I always stand unto God be all the glory. And I want to end with my closing thoughts with this. John F. Kennedy, let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past. Let us accept our own responsibility for the future. Guys, we are at a crossroads here in America. It's either we bomb Iran or we shut up, be quiet. No, we're not going to shut up and be quiet. We have the First Amendment, right? Remember, MAGA, to my MAGA people, God, country, family. That's what we stand on as our values. We don't stand on worshiping a leader or a cult. So you have every right to question President Trump. For those of you that are saying we are not questioning him enough, we know the heat we are taking. We are taking it from our own team, our own party members. So again, I stand on this. God, country, family. And remember, when those servicemen are serving over there, they're standing on American ideals and values. So think about that before you put them in harm's danger. God bless. Good night. And I'm sending prayers for President Trump, the administration, the whole United States. Thank you.